Black Lives Matter.
Hello, and thank you for tuning back in to the Hearts, Conspiracies and UFOs podcast. My name is Jarvey, and we have another cracking show for you today. We're going to go through all the latest Hearts news as we approach pre-season. Jolly Jambo is on the phone all the way from Benidorm as he continues to evade the Midlothian police after an incident in the Dalkeith Miners Club beer garden last week. Everyone's favourite out of context, Jambo's kickback is back again, and me and the boys will be discussing our best ever Hearts games that we have been at. And who are the boys, I hear you ask? Well, I am joined by Paddy, Simon and Hammy. How are we doing, boys? Have you been up to much in the last week?
Fuck the SFA.
Wow.
Fuck the SFA. You know, good mood tonight there, Paddy.
No, I've not been up to much myself, Jarvey. You're locked down at the moment. I was out at the weekend finally having some socially distant drinks in a friend's garden, which ended up with me excessively drunk. But other than that, not much else really.
Lovely. I was at the vets today. That was the highlight of my day, other than working. I had to wait outside. I had to give a woman my dog at the door. That was weird.
Did you get back?
Hey, did you get the same one back?
As far as I'm aware. As far as I'm aware. The Paddy, other than fuck the SFA, have you been up to much yourself?
No, not today, not. Slightly hungover.
On a school night? Terrible.
It's not been a school
Simon,
night for me for about
yourself?
6 years.
Well, that's true. Simon, yourself?
Nah, nothing much. I've booked to go to eat in a restaurant on Saturday night.
Oh,
What?
Quite exciting.
Yeah.
Should we tell the listener fam that we're all meeting up for our second works night out on Friday night?
Yes. We've booked the away up in Gorgie package. A bit of a faux pas. We've booked for 6 people to go, and we didn't realise that it's maximum tables of 4. So one person's going to have to do some sort of speed dating system.
I say we just let Jolly Jambo sit there on his own.
Yeah.
Jolly Jambo is flying back in from Benidorm for the occasion.
Him and Strange Man.
Look out for the Strange Man, the deserter Strange Man, who we hope to have on the podcast one day once he's recovered from his bad problem with gout. We'll see. He deserves it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Friday. That'll be good. So we're actually going to be drinking pints from draft pints inside a pub on Friday night.
Don't know how I feel.
I'm led to believe that is the case.
Hey?
COVID on Saturday, something to look forward to.
COVID on Saturday. Aye. Well, we'll be socially distanced, so be careful. Okay. Well, looking forward to that on Friday then. Let's talk about some Heart stuff, shall we? We were going to talk about the director of football role and what was going on, but it's just been confirmed in the last 24 hours that it's been confirmed that it's been pushed back for a year for one reason or another, most likely to do with kind of cost savings and with the court case ongoing. Simon, speak to you on this. You bothered by that at all? Can you see that having any impact on things for this season, not having one in place?
You'd like to think that we can get through the championship without one, because what do you think the director of football really does? Sign players?
Yeah.
Like, what does he do?
Well, that should be their main role, is to oversee all transfer signings and have schedules in place for bringing through youth players and kind of playing a part in the whole setup, the lower tiers of youth football as well, and where players are moving around. Aye.
I think what they're trying to say is, it's probably going to be Craig Levine.
He is
Just need you to
available.
forget about him for a year. Oh, he's always available. I wonder what will happen with Craig Levine. He obviously he was loosely linked to the Dundee United job. That was never going to happen. The fans wouldn't allow it. But we might see Craig Levine at another Championship side next season. Can you imagine?
There isn't going to be a Championship next season. We're taking the SFA and the SPFL to the cleaners.
Well, that's the other option. I don't know what I'd prefer. Prefer like an away day and Craig Levine's in the dugout. And the abuse.
It would be quite satisfying.
That would be superb. Or in the Premier League, I'd probably take that. Take seeing Craig Levine standing taking abuse for Hearts fans for 90 minutes.
It would be almost therapeutic. I feel like we've earned it. I feel like we have a right to just let it all out.
Aye. Well, let's talk about it's not quite the season starting, but pre-season at least is starting. Where the boys are going back to training on August the 3rd. And if the kind of schedule for the Premier League clubs is anything to go by, we could actually have weekly friendlies all the way up till our season starting on October 17th. If you think about it, the only friends Hearts have now in Scottish football is Partick Thistle, Stranraer, Inverness and Falkirk. So there's 4 games, just play them on rotation for 2 months. Wow. At least things are moving. We're getting there.
We've got allies in France.
Speaking of pre-season, boys, sounds like a war movie. It's my Crazy Battalion again. Speaking of pre-season, it's been confirmed this week that John Suter and Peter Haring are returning for the full of pre-season. They're expected to be fully fit and taking part as normal. Paddy, you must be delighted with that. I would have thought.
Well, if they're both fit, yeah, but I'd like to see how long it lasts, especially with John Suter's cheese string hamstrings.
It's a shame. Both cracking players, but we'll need to see what happens there.
Peter Haring would look like Paolo Maldini in the Championship.
Oh, he's going to look phenomenal.
If he comes back, the player he was before he got injured, because obviously it's quite an insane injury to even just come back reach the level that you were at before it. But if he comes back and he is that level, it's going to be watching the best Hearts player ever.
Aye, completely agree. It's easy to forget just how good Peter Haring was. He was levels above 95% of players in the Premier League. He will absolutely stroll the Championship once he gets himself back up to speed. On the topic of John Suter and his cheese-string hamstrings, you've got John Suter, debatably John Suter, but you've got Craig Gordon and Stephen Naismith, all wanting back into the Scotland squad. Now, as we approach the international fixtures later in the year, they're going to have to rely heavily on very competitive friendlies to get them anywhere near contention to get called up. There's a very good chance Stephen Naismith and Craig Gordon will. Hammy, what's your thoughts on that? Is there any way Steve Clarke can bring Gordon, Naismith, maybe even Suter into the squad?
With no sort of competitive games, I think they would be extremely lucky. I'm not sure I'd be too keen on it myself. You know what it's like at the start of seasons when players come in after they've done friendlies and all that. It always takes a few actual competitive games to get them up to speed. And when you've got players playing in all other leagues that are currently playing competitively because we decided to shut down, I can't see it myself.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Hammy. It's about, who else plays in the positions that Naismith, Gordon and Suter play in? And are they playing competitive football right now at a higher level? And the answer is yes to that. So I think they're obviously going to be picked over them.
Yeah.
Don't want it to happen. Don't want them to get injured. Especially Suter. He gets injured standing up. So
Christ, really hating on Suter today, Paddy.
No. I feel sorry for him because he's a great talent, but he's always injured.
If this is what you're like when you feel sorry for someone, I do not want to hear what it's like when you actually don't like someone.
Oh, I know. I'd hate to hear what you say about us behind closed doors, Paddy. Speaking of position, Simon, that was a good point. When you look at the strikers, for example, you've got Ollie McBurney, who's firing on all cylinders. He's having a superb season in the English Premiership. Other than that, I mean, you've got Lee Griffiths, who's just returned to training this week and been told he's not going to France with the rest of the Celtic squad because he's put on so much weight. Surely there's got to be a chance Stephen Naismith gets into that squad.
Nah, I can't see it. If he's not playing competitive football, there's going to be other players who are.
Aren't exactly blessed of centre forwards, but we'll see.
Even Fletcher will probably do it.
Aye.
Yeah, comes out of retirement or something. And he was a bit.
Well, clubs at Stephen Fletcher right now.
Is it not still Chef Wed?
Sheffield Wednesday,
He's
yeah.
still there, is he?
I think so.
I think
aye.
so.
Remember, he's not been in the limelight for a wee while since his days in France. That was some time to be alive. Just speaking of kind of tail end of pre-season, going into the season start, which is penciled in just now for October 17th, the same day as the Old Firm game. I think clubs are getting balloted this week to see if they want to take part. I'm not sure if this is a ballot to decide if the Cup's actually going ahead or if it's a ballot to see what clubs want to take part in the League Cup. But this could end up falling into something similar to a normal season where it's a kind of table. So your pre-season normally now, for the last couple of years, is just to play your League Cup games. Then that gets you through to the next round. So you could be talking, take a couple of weeks back from October, so the end of September, we could have, I don't know if you could really call them competitive games, but some form of competition by then. So we've just got to play Partick Thistle 800 times in the meantime. Get Stephen Naismith into the Scotland squad. Just some new news that came to light. I'm not sure if you've seen this. It was just in the last couple of hours that Hearts have been linked with Dundee United's Callum Butcher, who Robbie Neilson holds to a high regard. 29 years old, a defensive midfielder. Paddy, does that sound like the type of player we need, regardless of his level?
We do need a holding midfielder, but I think Peter Haring will probably do that job.
Yeah, exactly. And surely, Paddy, we're desperate for our wingers. I was quite disappointed to see straight away that we're being linked with another centre midfielder.
I mean, we don't have a midfield
I
either.
think what this is I spoke about it maybe last week or the week before, but Robbie Neilson needs to bring in the right leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no leadership in that squad right now.
Yeah.
There's good players, but how can a squad of that talent be that bad so consistently?
Yeah.
There's no there's no leadership or accountability.
Yeah, you can't laugh at me, Mr. Arbrough Smokies.
So I think that bringing this guy in, I've obviously not seen much of him, but looking at his age and just from what I have seen about him, putting him in because he's a good leader, I think that's what he must see from working at Dundee United with him.
Yeah, I think you're right, Simon. Yes.
Is he any relation to Terry Butcher? Because I'm definitely not interested if he is.
You know what? I actually checked that when I read it earlier. I don't believe he is. No.
Good.
I'll tell you what, take Terry Butcher in the centre.
He'll come up later.
He's a good player. And Hammy, to speak about your number one coaching option, it looks like Lee McCulloch could be coming to the Hearts as what first of all seemed like fiction is now becoming reality. How are you feeling about that?
To be fair, right, the more I've sort of read into it and all that, he seems to be quite highly rated. I still think he's just a bit of a bell end, but listen, if he can get us winning games, then I'll take it for a season.
If you think about it, right, Robbie Neilson obviously gives the fourth official a bit of lip, but if you've got Lee McCulloch backing you up, screaming at the fourth official, You're going to get a few more
Janky.
decisions.
Right.
Alfie's there on Friday. Hammy versus Lee McCulloch.
Oh God, that's no fair. I'd smash him.
So you know how they say okay, good managers and assistant managers are good cop, bad cop. From what I've read, it's actually that Lee McCulloch's the good cop and Nielsen's the hard ass. Apparently, he's the nicest guy.
Makes
Lee
sense.
McCulloch. Apparently, he is the nicest guy. Simon, let's have a wee talk about our Uchi bet, as Uchi's been in the papers this week, speaking with the Evening News, talking about his time under Stendhal. Stendhal told Uchi openly that he didn't rate him at all, and he is feeling very fired up to the season. How are you feeling about that in terms of our Uchi goal bet?
I mean, all signs are looking good for you, really.
For me.
I mean, I'm not surprised that Stendhal said that he downs his footballer ability. I don't think anyone really who watches him often thinks he's a good footballer. He's got a great impact. He's great strength, and I think the ability might be there if he's able to develop a wee bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a reason he's at Hearts. He's not very good at football.
He's a bit of a batter than Uchi. Yeah, I mean, I always think with Uchi, if he's up against a big centre back, he struggles. If he's up against Scott McKenna, if he's up against Stuart Finlay, some of these big guys, he just struggles because his tactics doesn't work. But I could see Uchi ripping up the Championship. But you just step down a level, and the kind of size or the athletic ability of the centre backs at these clubs. Yeah, I could see Uchi tearing it up. He might have more assists than goals, though, I reckon. He's not the most prolific goal scorer. I think he could play a big part for us if Nielsen likes him.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You've got to give everyone a clean slate, but Nielsen will know what Uchi is. He'll have seen enough on to understand.
Oh, yeah. And just to remind the viewers, if they didn't listen to, what was it, our first podcast we talked up the bit?
Yeah.
What was the term, Simon?
I don't remember. Could have been.
I think it was, if Uchi scores under 15 goals, you have to give me £1,000.
Oh, yeah,
Is that right?
yeah. No, it was if Uchi scores over 1,000 goals, you have to give me £15.
Aye, no, but I think what I'm saying is, so it's over under 15 goals. If for every goal under 15, Simon has to give me £10. I.e., if he scores 10 goals, Simon gives me 50. And likewise, if it's over 15 goals, I give Simon £10 a goal. But Uchi has to play in how many games, Simon?
25.
25 games out of a 27-game season. Which renders the bet useless. But we'll see.
Listen, if he has a good season.
All he has to do is stay fit. That's it. Still, like, because it is lesser games, there's less need for the players to actually be rested. You know what I mean? So there's a chance that he could play in 25 games. So we'll see. So just Osman Sow be signed and Uchi will never kick a ball next season. Other than that, then let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's go over to QC Hammy, our legal aid, to talk about the latest court news. Hammy, what's been happening? What the hell is going on now?
Well, because of the fact that it's not being held in open court and it's went to the Arbroath Smokies or arbitration, it's obviously all very quiet and nothing's publicised, and that's the whole point of it. So the latest I heard was that it's actually going to be starting on this Thursday. So it's Tuesday the 14th today, so that'll be 16th it's meant to be starting. We'll not really know about anything that happens in that because it's rigged, really, but that's just my opinion. But today it came out the SFA have decided that they have not put in a notice of complaint to Hearts and Partick for the sole reason of taking the SPFL to court, because that's against the rules. Now, we talked about this recently, that you can't take the SPFL to court. That's against their own rules. Now, no matter what you think of that, and it's just mind-boggling to me. It's against the rules. So, and what they said was that the punishment could be expulsion for the league, or £1 million fine, or suspension, of course, as well. So that's now on us and Partick. So whilst we are setting up this Thursday for arbitration, our QCs, our lawyers and everything will be working on that, building up our case. I believe it's next Monday that we've got a hearing in front of the SFA about taking them to court.
Well, so it's actually
Kim, what I would do? I would send the just anybody to that hearing with the SFA. Honestly, I would just send. I'd send like one of the youth team players. I should be like, just go, turn up, listen to whatever they say, take whatever they give you, and just come back. I'd treat it with such disdain. I'd honestly probably get in trouble for the disdain that I treated it with. I would just be like,
Hearts have asked for it to be delayed. No, you're right, because
we went to court. We went to court, and they said we had a case, and that said that if we can't take them to court, like the idea of us having to ask to take them to court is like should be quoted.
You're completely right. Lord agreed. He said that our case was founded, that we had a right to take it to court, but we had to follow the correct procedures that are laid out. We go to arbitration first, and he also made a comment about the punishments and just how excessive and stupid they really were. So, let them go for it, and let's just.
Okay. Paddy, can you sum that up for me in 3 words?
Can't do it in 3. But I just
Fuck
think
the SFA.
I've already said that people know my feelings on them. They're just a pathetic waste of fresh air. That's what the SFA is. SPFL, SFA. It's unbelievable.
All of them. And remember, guys, Neil Doncaster, head of the SPFL, is also on the SFA board.
Yeah,
that's how corrupt it is. So.
The whole thing is nonsense. And what do we think, boys, about Lachlan Cameron, the chairman of Ayr United, this week, saying that he thinks there should be a commissioner for the SPFL or SFA like they have in American sports?
What would be the difference between that and what Neil Doncaster does already?
I mean, if you read into it, the way a commissioner works basically is they call all the shots without consultation. They don't report to a board. They wouldn't ask for club owners' feedback. They just make the decisions. That's it. You
that
imagine how
very
badly that would work.
We've already got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's Celtic, Paddy.
All right, sorry. Yeah.
That's Celtic winning titles. Yes. But yeah, it sounds very much like a dictatorship to me. I think that the NBA commissioner, I can't remember his name, he's meant to be the best commissioner they've ever had. But you look at how much in the NFL they hate the commissioner there. It just sounds like a dictatorship to me. It sounds awful. Not for me. Paddy, you ready to sum up the SPFL in 3 words?
Fuck the SPFL.
Thank you. So one more letter than I was looking for, but that's fine.
Sorry,
okay,
fuck
boys.
the
Well,
SFA as
thanks for your thoughts on that. There we go. Okay. Well, listen, boys, my phone's ringing off the hook here. Jolly Jambo's been phoning me non-stop for the last 5 minutes. So let me answer, and let's go live over to Benidorm with the fugitive himself, Jolly Jambo.
Nah.
Nah.
Beep, 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 beep.
Hello, Jolly. How are you there?
All right, Jarvey, how's it going?
I'm not too bad, thank you, Mr. Jolly. How are you doing?
Aye, no bad, you ken. Living on the run like the El Chapo and that, ken. Fishbowl in one hand, flaming sangria in the other, ken.
You enjoying yourself in Benidorm then, Jolly?
Oh, it's smashing, the wife's no happy, left her at home with the kids and the dog, but guess that's the life of the fugitive, you know. I mean, to be honest, it's pretty quiet here, eh? There's a lot of free white plastic chairs kicking about, which maybe be great if you were an English football hooligan, but, you know, well, actually, maybe that's how you should market the place in the off-season, you know. Benidorm, free chairs. But, you
Speaking
know,
of,
well, I was going, you know, going through the classic here, you know, the weather's no bad, you know, got a cracking tan line on the go. My arms look like a couple of refresher bars, you know. Don't know if you're into that yourself, you know. You're probably maybe a city break culture vulture man yourself, you know.
I like the beach myself as well. You've got to get your tap
Yeah.
half, Jolly.
It's surprising for a man of your hair colour, you know.
Speaking of your wife, is the Midlothian Guard de Seville been in touch with the family at all looking for you? You heard any news from back home?
Look, there's obviously only certain things I can say because, you know, I'm like the Hertz at the moment with the legal battles. But you know, there was a bit of a misunderstanding at the bowling club beer garden when they reopened, and a bit of ruckus ensued, and probably have to leave it at that, you know.
I understand. Say no more. Let's have a wee on just to say as well. But I do understand you're planning on making an appearance at Tynecastle this Friday night for the away up.
Well, you never know, eh? If I can get myself a flight back, you know, like to be there, you know, like to have a few drinks with the boys. Obviously, I might have to make a quick exit back across this way, but we'll see what we can work out.
Nice one. We'll look forward to seeing you there, Jolly. Fingers crossed you'll get through customs. What we'll do then, let's have a wee talk about Hearts. First of all, I wanted to get your take on this proposal from Lachlan Cameron, the big Yankee that's the chairman of AIR, proposing that the SFA should appoint a commissioner. What's your thoughts on that?
So is that what they're looking for, eh? That what they're going with?
Well, says one man from America.
Well, like, I mean, what a nonsense, you know. I mean, look, I ken Scottish football's a mess. Everybody kens it's a mess and it needs to change, like, but America's hardly a shining fucking light, Ken. Christ, that's like, that's like starting as an actor and aiming to be Ben Affleck, you know. Who, if you think about it, it's actually look like that David Luiz at the Arsenal. They're on the now, eh? Continually highly paid to deliver absolutely pish performances. No, I'm not in favour of that at all. I think what we need is a total overhaul of the governing bodies. You know, clear out the dead wood and maybe, you know, bring in some intelligent people. Obviously, Hearts have done that today, bringing in Jim Jeffries.
They have indeed. I know. Breaking news. You must be delighted with that. A man of few
I think it's fantastic. You know, love to see him back. I'm surprised, to be honest. Is he working for free? Because I've heard we've not got any cash because of the court case and that, eh?
I'm sure he's taking a wage. It's not free. I think from what I've read today, it's a 6-month contract. His main duties are going to be between now and the season starting for the kind of summer transfer window, if you can still call it that.
Well, to be honest though, like, maybe that's right, because see if it all goes wrong, we'll put Robbie in it right back. Jim will be back on the touchline, we'll be fine, eh?
That's a good point. Watch this space. Jolly, later on the show, I'm going to be asking the boys what their best ever Hearts game is that they've been at. Can I ask you, have you got any thoughts on what yours would be?
Oh, probably. No, it's an easy one, eh? It's an easy one, Ken.
Mm-hmm.
I'll set the scene. I've got to set the scene first, you know. So here we go. It was the day after Christmas. Not through the house. No a creature was stirring. No even a moose. And all of a sudden, with a big mighty thud, Big Jolly got up out of his bed in the scud. That's how the day started, Ken. Down to Tynecastle after far too many advocates and Baileys on Boxing Day 2006. Hearts versus Hibs in the Edinburgh Derby. Do you mind the game, Jarvie?
I think I do.
Well, I mean, that's the setting, you know. For there, it's pretty self-explanatory what happened. A few pints in the boozer before, a wee sing-song, and then, as Hearts do, we play an edgy game against the Hibs. You know, it's never, apart from if it's at Hampden, it's never that comfortable, Ken. And then, you know, we're 2-1 up, look at the game, then all of a sudden, bang, penalty to them, 2-2. And that big balloon Dean Shields as well up, he's taking it, and he scored it, and we're like, oh no. Then bang, he's run in there, fists in the air, knocked Craig Gordon on his arse. Now all of a sudden in the ensuing melee, the boy's off, red card for a celebration that you've ploughed in the goalkeeper. Madman. Anyway, we all came what happens next. We go up the other end. Ball comes across the edge of the box, Mika Lunas, right into the top left bag. Absolute screamer. And then, hoofed, that's us, out of there. Off to polish off the turkey and the rest of the Christmas breezers. Happy as Larry, Ken.
Oh, superb. Aye. And not long to wait till football's back now, Jolly. We'll get a Christmas calendar. We might, if you're not still on the run.
Think we'll be back at the games anytime soon. I mean, I might still be over here. I might be watching the local Spanish boys, Ken.
I'm going to say that we'll have maybe even a full capacity at Tynecastle for the season starting 17th October. We've just went a full week without any deaths in Scotland. Things are ploughing on now. And most importantly, the Old Firm game is October the 17th, which means you can be confident that there'll be a full stadium of fans at that one.
That's a very fair point, Jarvin. And I think, obviously we've just got to keep that message up as wash your hands for the Hearts, Ken. Sooner you've washed your hands, get rid of this virus, we can get back to Tynecastle, get on with our lives, eh? It's all close to our hearts.
Exactly. Well, Jolly, I hope with all my hearts that you make it to Tynecastle this Friday night. Get yourself over. It might be a bit dodgy getting a plane, mind you. You should probably just try and get a lift.
Well, I've got a beach party with my name on it now, eh? So I'll have the boost, Jarvie. See you later.
See you later. Cheers, Jolly. Bye-bye. Okay, well, now let's go over to Hammy for Out of Context Jamble's Kickback. Jamble's Kickback. What have you got for us this week, Hammy?
Well, lads, what have I not got? That's the real question. I've got a thread called Bear Pit Tynecastle.
Oh, God.
I knew this would be a Bobby Dazzler the minute I seen it. It's a 9-point plan about how to make Tynecastle as unwelcoming as possible.
Well, like booby traps and that.
Jarvie, you're not far off, sadly.
Oh, God.
So it starts off though as well saying probably been done before. It's not. Number one, feck shaking hands at the start of the match. Get the players to walk around half a bit at the start of each half to the music of Zordoz, the Priest, I think that's the name, Valkyrie, or any military music. Okay. Number two, do a reverse huddle. Get the players to stand in a tight circle applauding the supporters. Let the Manx do their stupid secret gathering. Number three, give the least amount of tickets to away fans and ban any drums, flags, etc. Put the foot through the drums and leave them outside Tynecastle so they can collect them and feck off.
What if we hired the SS to do the doors or something?
No.
Jarvie, is this yours? Is this your idea?
No, it's not.
It's funny
Mine
you
would be
mentioned.
like
Yes,
booby traps.
Well,
Like they open up a door in the away end and a glass of water spills on them.
a glass of halftime pies.
it's funny you mention half-time spies. No, sorry. At 4, at each substitution or goal scored, announce the first names and let us shout the surnames, like in Germany. Oh, I'm not sure that would work at Tynecastle, if I'm honest with you.
Honestly, half the boys I sit around, like the old boys, have absolutely no idea who's coming on.
Aye, that's true. Like
Number 5.
Jolly Jamble's still shouting for Christian Aid to come on. Get that bloody need on.
Christian Nade. Number 5. Let the press in and give them pelters. I'm pretty sure we do that anyway, though.
Yeah.
Andy Walker,
Even the roof leaks right on the press bit as well, which is nice.
That wasn't a design flaw. That was meant,
Yeah.
I reckon. Number 6. Hospitality. Any leftover pies and bovril, then get them to feck out of Tynecastle. Now, I don't know if he means pies and bovril or if he means the fans that leave them. He didn't go into too much detail about that.
What? So he wants to chuck the pies and bovril out?
Aye. How rad is that, man? Bear Pit Tynecastle, remember. Number 7. give a rousing welcome to opposing teams to Tynecastle. So I imagine he's got sort of Liverpool fans and Man City in his mind. But again, I think fans aren't that bothered, really. Number 8, at the end of the match, managers only, no answering questions, and then walk out. Just no interviews, nothing.
I'm pretty sure most players and managers are contractually obliged to do interviews after matches.
But this is Bear Pit Tynecastle, Simon. Come on. Bear Pit.
It's sounding very, very Rangers.
Once again.
Well,
a lot of statements. A lot
not
of
a lot of
no
substance.
tickets for away fans.
It's like Steven Gerrard refuses to speak to Sports Sound, doesn't he? So when you're watching the highlight, Sports Scene, sorry. So when you're watching the highlights, instead of seeing his manager interview, you just get a statement on the screen.
Why is that?
No, you must hate Michael Stewart, I'd imagine, something like that.
Alex Ferguson.
Someone's
I
that
thought
way.
this is a Bear
BBC.
Pit.
Alex Ferguson, he did, didn't he? That was a good couple of years that happened.
Point number 9 is dress Tynecastle with giant flags. Take your medicine and only Hearts banners. And then he finishes it with never forget the injustice, threats, lies, disgusting images of our badge, ridicule, hysterical attacks from SPFL and our independent press and media, and the actions of other clubs who thought they could kick us when we were down. That was all one sentence. There was no grammar there. Feck them all. We are Heart of Midlothian. Only Hearts, always Hearts. So,
I like it.
I've got to say, like, you can take the good and bad points from that.
Bear Pit
Not all bad.
Tynecastle, boys.
What was the comments back to that, Hammy?
Well, there was. I was with you until point 4. The rest is just nonsense. And, right, so remember, the point 1 was shaking hands, do a reverse huddle, give the least amount of tickets, and each substitution or goal scored announce the first names like in Germany.
Right.
So the rest of it, like, let the press in and give them pelters, that's nonsense. No, it
That's
already
what
happens.
Yeah. I do like, I think my favourite bit of shithousery from Tynecastle's the stadium announcer. So if the refs had a howler in the first half, like if he's not gave Hearts any decisions, when he's introducing the second half, like he'll say, and Kevin Clancy is about to get us underway. Like so sarcastically, to give time for all the crowd to go, boo!
I've never noticed that before.
He can when he needs to. When it's at his worst, he'll do it. But I honestly think it just makes the refs even more biased against us. Just puts a rod right up their back. If anything, we should say it like, and wonderful referee Kevin Clancy is about to get us back underway.
I know it's been tough for you, but we respect your decisions and we look forward to the second half.
Nah, go cutthroat.
Oh, Paddy, no way, Paddy, you'd go cutthroat.
Is this your new gimmick, Paddy? Are you Mr. Miserable?
I don't like referees either, though, Jarvie.
Understandable. Paddy, since you're in the mood, if you could do anything to booby trap or do something to piss off the away fans, what would you do?
Well, I'd go full Indiana Jones at the start of the first one, just a big boulder.
Down those steps where all the fans come up inside the high school. That could work. Superb. For me, I just lock the toilets.
No, because then they just piss all over the foyer.
That's true.
Ooh.
Yeah, they probably make
Well,
some fan bases smell a bit better. Okay, well, thanks for that, Hammy. Certainly some food for thought, anyway. Hopefully, like getting Tynecastle back open for pints. Hopefully, they can write to Hearts again and maybe incorporate some of these things. We'll see. Let's move on then, boys, and let's have a talk about the best games that we've ever been at as Hearts fans. So many to choose from, so many for some reason, one way or another, but against Hibs. But we've all managed to choose a different game each. Paddy, do you want to start us off, because you probably have the most iconic one, but maybe the most predictable?
Oh, sorry. I'm the 5-1 Scottish Cup final game. That's the best game I've been to.
Did you not travel through there with Robbie? Was it Robbie Nielsen you went through with?
Travelled from the bar we were at up to Hampden with Robbie Nielsen having a hand walking because he couldn't do it himself. He was steaming.
You were holding his hand.
No, I wasn't.
That's what it sounded like. You walked to Hampden holding hands with Robbie Nielsen.
All right, I walked to Hampden holding hands with Robbie Nielsen.
And what happened with your bus when you were leaving?
They ran somebody over. It was a great day out, to be honest.
Not even just that. You crushed somebody who only broke their arm. Let's just get right there.
Oh
okay.
no!
But someone you worked with.
Yeah, it was. I will not name names because it's not fair. But Jimmy was trying to sue them.
Was he trying to sue Hearts or the bus company?
The bus company, or the driver in particular.
I don't see how he didn't win that if he got crushed.
Because he was the one that was drunk and walked behind a reversing bus and got caught.
Was he in somewhere? Was he in somewhere he wasn't meant to be?
Yeah, he got crushed
Behind
between
a
a stone wall and a bus.
How close was the bus to the wall? That's what I want to know. Like,
To be honest, there was so much excitement in there that I didn't pay attention to that bit.
I bet he wasn't even bothered either. He was like, "Just get me home."
Yeah.
Get me to Gorgie Road. Well, thanks for that, Paddy. You've certainly brought back some good memories there, and thank you for your detailed summary of the game. Simon, what's your game?
So mine's isn't actually one that many people remember, actually, but until I bring it up and then they realise how much of a good game it was. And I'm going to go through some things that make it such a good game. The build-up to it. If Hibs beat us at Tynecastle, we were relegated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is a horrible reality that we were all living with that whole week. All the papers were talking about was the relegation party and how Hibs are bringing balloons and they've sold so many blow-up balloons in Leith and all that crap, and they were coming up to have a party. Lee Griffiths was in the crowd in the Hibs end watching that game. Mm-hmm. Our team was rubbish, but Hibs, you forget, were also on, I think, when I watched the highlights, they said that of the last 12 games, they'd only won one. So,
right, okay.
I don't know if they were favourites going in, I don't remember, but we were bottom of the league. And then we were brilliant. We scored a first half goal, Dale Carrick. It was well judged to be onside because it was onside, but in real time it looked offside. I was sitting in the old stand, so I was right next to the away fans, so it was brilliant seeing all those balloons just kind of go under the seats. And everyone kind of realised that if Hibs lose this, they're in danger as well.
Yeah.
And then they scored and it got ruled off, so you got that joy of when the away fans go mad and then they have to just calm down again.
That's
and you get to do the
moment.
Way, and it's brilliant. And then we were singing "You're Going Down with the Jambos," which I've never been so happy to sing. And then, honestly, I think every person listening to this and the three of you should go back and watch our second goal in that game. It is so underrated. But before I get there, actually, secret special mention to secret agent Alan Maybury for being on a booking and taking last man out, knowing that he was getting a straight red anyway, but doing it anyway. Proud of him. But yeah, the second goal in that game, I think it's a throw in to Hibs just outside our box, and they throw it in, and Scott Robinson, I think it is, steals the ball away and either gives it to, I think it's Sam Nicholson. And from where Scott Robinson steals the ball, that one pass, only 2 more passes, and Billy King was one-on-one with the goalkeeper. And the break took like 8 seconds. It's such a good goal. I couldn't see it because I was in the old stand. There was a big pillar right in the way of where that goal was, and I couldn't see a thing.
Oh, man.
But I just heard everyone going mental, and obviously it goes in, you watch it later. But that is such an underrated Derby goal. It's so good. It's such a good counter-attack. And just seeing all them streaming out as soon as that, because you remember there was the wee side door on the away stand that you could see all the fans coming out. We were right there, and it was absolutely one of the best days of my life.
I need to go back. I can't remember that second goal from memory now. I need to go back and have a look. That's superb. That's probably where it must be. It's older than this, but the phrase "Hibs" that certainly was embedded at that point.
I think it started in 1990 or 1991, whenever they went into admin, and then for then on, it is the most Hibs thing, having a relegation party, essentially for your own relegation.
Yeah. Oh dear. Hibs. Well, there's 2 Hibs stories for you. I'll butt in now to break up the gap, if you don't mind, Hammy. I'm going to talk about a game from December the 17th, 2017. A game played at Tynecastle involving Heart of Midlothian and Celtic Football Club. It was an early kick-off on a Sunday morning. What could have possibly went wrong for the record breakers? Going into it, we were unbeaten at home for 5 games and finally finding some form after starting the season poorly. Celtic were starting to falter a bit. A few draws, a few poor performances in Europe, and some very early calls for Brendan Rodgers to resign. Having said that, they were still 69 games unbeaten going into this game, and what a game it was. All week leading up to it, I think there was generally a lot of excitement about the game and quite a lot of good feelings about it. I think everyone really thought Hearts had a chance. I was certainly excited, also because it was my work Christmas party on the Friday night. So on that Friday, after the Christmas party, I ended up in Club Tropicana, the standard. In the wee hours of the night, I got talking to a Celtic fan out in the smoking bit, and I was accompanied by my pal from work, Lee, who's a massive Rangers man. Instead of punching each other's head in, we actually managed to speak about football, absolutely inebriated. And I told that Celtic fan with full confidence that I thought we were going to beat them on Sunday, and not only that we would beat them 4-0. And that's exactly what happened. To this day, I can only hope that Celtic fan remembers that. Remembers the most bold prediction of all time. I hope he wasn't too drunk to remember. Unfortunately, Lee, the Rangers man, can't remember himself, but I'm positive I said it. Just never put money on it. I wish I did. In terms of the actual game, it started off quite shaky actually. The first 20 minutes was kind of all Celtic. It was Scott Sinclair was in brilliant form, and he was giving Connor Randall, who's at Ross County next season by the way, he was giving Randall absolute nightmares bombing in the left flank. I think he had about 4 or 5 crosses into the box. John McLaughlin was making saves left, right and centre. It was a bit of a nervy affair. And then all of a sudden, the master struck for Celtic. So on the 26th minute, a 6-year-old Coxon perfectly could trap the ball on his left foot and smashed it home beneath Scott Brown's legs. I think Castle went into absolute raptures. Couldn't quite believe what we were seeing. 10 minutes later, the tide turned for certain. Kyle Lafferty took a shot from 25 yards out across goal. Everyone in the stadium thought he hit it too early, but it went past Craig Gordon and off the post. Lafferty gave the Celtic fans a friendly salute, and Tynecastle went into absolute meltdown. At this stage, the Green Brigade did not dare beat their drum again. So at half time, it was 2-0. I think there was so much you can certainly say is never do you go into half time 2-0 up against Celtic. Rarely against Rangers as well. Everyone you spoke to, I'd say about 75% of people thought there was no chance we were going to win it. Even at 2-0 up, they thought they're off. It's Celtic, they'll come back and get a draw here, or they could even come back and win it.
I remember watching this game because I was watching it lying in my bed on Sunday morning, and I remember speaking to my dad at half time, and he was like, I can't believe it's 2-0. And we're like, both of us were like, aye, but let's not get excited because we're obviously not going to win. Like, we were just trying to enjoy the moment, but we both knew we weren't going to win.
Aye. It's just that feeling that's always in your stomach against Celtic. So that it was so nerve-wracking at half-time, but that you could just feel in the atmosphere the tension, the nerves. And then when Celtic came out for the second half, Kieran Tierney had been taken off. I think he was getting ripped apart by Milinkovic. So just 2 minutes into the start of the second half, Milinkovic scored another one to make it 3-0. Straight away, it put everyone's minds at ease. It started to actually cross your mind that we were about to beat Celtic and end the 69-game unbeaten run. The drum continued. So the lack of drum continued. There was no beat in the second half. Fast forward 30 minutes after a number of attacks from Celtic, they started to come back into the game. John McLaughlin again was making saves left, right and centre. If you look at the extended highlights, some of these saves are unbelievable that day. We managed to get back up into the box. The Milinkovic manages to get himself a penalty and bags a brace. 4-0 against Celtic. No one could believe their eyes. The rest of the game, the tension was unbelievable. It was just shock. Although I'm sure at some stage we've done the Poznan. Always a good laugh. Probably the first and last time we get to do that against Celtic. So after the game, it was just absolute jubilation, but I think the shock lasted for days. I think my favourite memory of the day in the post-match interview was 16-year-old at the time, Harry Cochrane's interview. He got asked openly, "How do you think you played today?" And he just answered, "Aye, I think I done all right. Aye." Rumour has it he still has a part of Scott Brown's soul in his back pocket. And that's the best game I've ever been to. Hammy, what about yourself?
I don't know, it's quite hard to top that. But I'm going to go a wee bit further back.
Jarvie wrote a school essay. This is the most writing. Jarvie never even done this much writing in English at school.
I never. Nah, I'm getting right into this podcast stuff, honestly.
No, I'm going to go same opposition, but a wee bit further back to 2012. Now, Paddy selected the final, but I'm going to go with the semi-final because it was semi-final against Celtic, and like you said there, it's whenever you're playing Celtic, you go into these games, you think, it's Celtic, they're going for the double. Can we really do this? And Hearts never even sold out their allocation that day. There was only, the total attendance was 36,000 at Hampden. And Celtic always travel in numbers. We hadn't sold our allocation because that was the feeling amongst the fans. How can we beat Celtic? Yeah. And that time players weren't getting paid. It was all just over the shop. There
was almost no point in going. That was like no point in going.
You sort of, I know myself, I went because semi-final. Hearts didn't get to Hampden a whole lot, so you've got to go. And what a game that turned out to be. First half, we kept them at bay. Celtic at the time were a very good team. They had Gary Hooper, Samaras playing, Wanyama, and we had the likes of Danny Granger, Darren Barr, Andy Driver, Scott Robinson, players like that, who, like I said, weren't getting paid at the time. And it took to the second half before Rudy Scatchell scored past Fraser Forster. And again, you go 1-0 up against Celtic, like in the cup final last year. It just feels utterly amazing, but you're still got that horrible dread that you scored in the 47th minute. You're thinking, oh no, there's still a lot of game to go. There is still a lot of game.
You almost feel like, we shouldn't have done that. We shouldn't have done that.
It's a similar time we scored in last season's Scottish Cup final, actually, isn't it?
Aye. And you're just constantly thinking, when's it going to come? When are they going to get the decision? What will happen? And of course, in the 87th minute, Gary Hooper scores an offside goal. Now, to be fair, the ref in that game was actually pretty good. He probably could have sent Ian Black off early on, but he didn't. So he started thinking, Christ, they've got this and we've got a decision. And you're thinking, at that point, 87th minute, all I was thinking at the time was, they're going to win. That's it. It's not even going to make it to extra time. They're just going to win.
Yeah.
But we get a corner, I think it was. Ball comes into the box, dangles about everywhere. Zaliukas hits it, and I think it was Wanyama's arm, I think it hit. And somehow we got a penalty in added time against Celtic at Hampden, which,
Unthinkable.
come on now. That rarely ever happens. And Mr. Craig Beattie, who'd barely, he didn't play a lot for Hearts. He struggled with injuries, and I think he came on at half time, I think, in that game. Steps up, scores, which was unbelievable, but then also done one of the greatest celebration I've ever seen.
The most casual penalty you'll ever see. Situation-wise, honestly, I was watching. I was like, he's going to score this. I was more nervous than he was, and I was like, he's actually just going to score this. It looked like he wasn't bothered at all. If it went in or not, well.
No. And what about that celebration? Hammy, one of the most iconic ever.
Well, it's always funny watching it back because the tap comes off and you see it's Darren Barr and Ryan McGowan chasing after him. Darren Barr had to stop right at the edge of the pitch because he was booked. Ryan McGowan didn't give a fuck, just kept running right around the whole running track with him. And there's actually, after that second goal, I had a wee laddie sitting in front of me. And when that second went in, I just picked him up. I just picked up this wee laddie in front of me. Had him pretty much on my shoulder. Just, look at him. And there is a photo of the fans when he's doing that, and you can see that wee laddie on my shoulder. No, that was... And just after it, beating Celtic, Neil Lennon going absolutely mental.
Him storming onto the pitch at the end of the game, that was so satisfying.
And it was good because, like I say, we were sort of down and out that season. It turned out to be a pretty good season at the end, but Scottish Cup win. But that game, beating Celtic in very unusual circumstances, that one I'll always remember that game. It was brilliant.
Can you remember who did Hibs have in their semi-final?
It's no Aberdeen.
Rangers.
Was it Rangers?
Aberdeen.
Yeah, it was Aberdeen. It was
Aberdeen.
Aberdeen.
I'm trying to remember who put Rangers out. I'm sure we certainly done it the hard way, obviously, putting Celtic out. Just can't mind. Need to look up after.
I'm not sure, actually.
Were Rangers not a League Two team at that point?
Oh, were they?
No.
That's a good point.
Were they?
I think they might be.
Can't remember. Some trivia. If you're listening at home, have a guess and then Google it like we'll do after this.
We could Google it right now, but what's the point? That would spoil the fun.
Too lazy.
Exactly.
I've got
I always
stopwatch.
think-
I've got Zoom. I've got a Word document here.
It must be mental before you could just Google things, how many arguments folk had. We still have arguments now, and we could end this argument right now by Googling it. But where's the fun in that, eh?
I've literally got a Google thingy sitting right next to me here as well. I could just ask it, but I can't be bothered. Well, that's all we have time for this week, folks. Next week, unless something groundbreaking happens, we'll be bringing you our best 11 from all Hearts players of the last decade or so. I can't wait to try and coax the boys into letting me slot David Abua in on the left wing. If you have enjoyed the show, do tell your Jambo pals all about it if you want, and don't forget to spread the good word on social media. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at hearts_podcast. And if you want to send us an email for some reason, it's heartspodcast@gmail.com. A special thanks to Padman Scoop Productions for his copious amounts of time editing. Well, I think for tonight's show, he'll be mainly editing himself out. So until next time, keep your ear to the ground, and we'll see you again soon. Say no. Hearts. Hearts.
Oh, Hearts. Hearts.
Hearts. Hearts.